Hey everybody, welcome back to the Real Estate Success Podcast. I'm your host, Jim Ingersoll, hanging out with a buddy from mine from beautiful Alabama, John Morey. Say hello.
Hello everybody from Alabama.
John has started the tribe now known as the Alabama Mafia. So he's become very influential in Alabama and is helping a lot of investors succeed, wholesaling the right way, and sometimes turning away from rehabbing and focusing on cash flow. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Hey, I want to thank all of our success listeners for being loyal listeners and sharing content, leaving me your comments on YouTube, and the reviews in iTunes are all really awesome. You guys are all rock stars, and you're gonna really enjoy this today with my good friend John Morey. John, I want to start with that button that's on your shirt. What's that?
Financial Friends.
All right.
Financial Friends with Walter and Quincy.
So your network is really important, and let's just sort of start there. I mean, I know your backstory. It's really exciting and it's very inspiring because we're both former engineers, electrical engineers, right?
It's the same.
So,
yes, sir.
Yeah. So we both survived engineering school. We both worked.
Yes, we have.
We both worked in aeronautics, right? You did as well.
Yes.
For a while.
Yes.
So we have a lot in common, and then we both ditched corporate life and found a lot of freedom along the path. So how long have you been doing this full time on your own now?
Almost 4 years. I hope you remember May 13, 2016 is when I called you and I told you what happened, that I got fired. Yeah. And you told me with all your vigor and all your positivity, you said, John, that's the best thing that's ever happened to you. And boy, and then we both laughed.
Yeah, and we still do. But looking back, would you agree that was a great day?
It was. You know, the funny thing is there was already signs that something's happening. So I actually kind of prepared myself for that day. I actually walked out of that office, or they walked me out of that office with one small box and a thumb drive. That's all. Isn't that funny? You know? And so I was ready that I was going to be walked out one day, and they did. And that was it. You know? And I really, that day also, I made 5 offers. I didn't get any of it. But that day, right around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I made 5 offers.
Massive.
I didn't just sit down and mope and cry. So, no, I hit it running.
I will say I've noticed, like, even you're pretty open and genuine and transparent about struggles, obstacles, and failures from time to time. And I think that's a great quality, because during those difficult times we learn, and the key is to always get up and get running quick. And you've done a good job with that. So, like, you haven't had 4 years of total perfection where everything has been absolutely perfect, right?
Oh, no, maybe once or twice only. That's it. Most of the time, boy, it's really an uphill climb, but that's when you learn.
How do you keep such a great positive mental attitude and wake up early and keep rolling every single day without ever really whining and complaining and struggling very long?
It doesn't do any good. You know, if you think about it, if we just keep whining, we're wasting energy whining, right? Yeah. So why not say, okay, I have a problem. Let me think about this. Let me talk to my friends. Let me get with my network. I need to find information how to solve the issue. See, that's what I do. I don't claim to know everything. That's why I have my network, because they're the people like you. You know, I've texted you and everything. You told me certain things. And that's exactly how I survive, and I also thrive because of my tribe.
Yeah, I agree. And challenging your network like that on a regular basis is great, because your network can help you when you have a struggle. Your network can help you increase your cash flow. Your network can help you increase your net worth. And when you were talking about no whining, it reminded me of a shirt that I remember Don Corbett had, and it says whining, and it's got a big slash through it, and I love that. So
I like that.
No whining on the back of his shirt, and I love that. So Don, if you're listening, thanks for wearing that shirt. Okay, so you've tried all kinds of different things. You've done creative deal structuring, you've done flips, rehabs, Airbnb, you've done seller financing, buying on the sales side. Looking back, what do you think has worked really well over those 4 years, and what things don't you like?
Well, let me first tell you what really didn't work very well. I think
Yeah.
that's a good start first.
Me too.
When you are starting in this, and you said this many times that rehabbing is cash intensive,
Boy, is
and you
it.
said this many times,
I
and
said
I
it
tell
this
people
morning
that
to
too. If you,
Cheryl.
yeah, oh yeah. So when you do rehabs, and that's when I started, that was a big mistake for me, very big mistake. So in my first year, it was a struggle. I only did 5 rehabs, but I understand the process. I understand how difficult it really is, and I have a family. I have to feed them. So I immediately shifted my focus. I said I need to have cash flow. So ever since then, my focus is okay. How do I generate cash flow in different means? So yes, I did acquire rentals, but then I shifted that right away to do seller financing because I don't like people calling me for toilets and stuff like that. So now I do a lot of seller financing, and I do Airbnbs, and I have joint ventures. So yes, like you said, I do a lot of different things now to generate the cash flow because as you know, cash flow is king.
It is, and it is. So like with a flip, it is cash intensive and it's a huge amount of money. Well, not just to purchase, but to do the rehab and to stay on budget and on timeline is very difficult. And managing contractors is challenging. There's a gazillion moving parts. It's not like it is on HGTV. Would you agree?
Oh no, not even close.
On HGTV, they're never stroking checks, are they?
Oh yeah, and they're so good at it.
Yeah. And so, there's just like a huge amount of money that goes out. And if you go over budget or if your timeline extends out, then all of a sudden you can run out of cash. And I've seen a lot of rehabbers struggle when they run out of cash. It isn't very fun.
Oh yeah, I know. Even though you put reserves, when I was doing it before, I learned to put 20%
Good point.
extra.
Yeah.
Yeah, even with that, there's some things that your contractor, especially your good ones, gonna find things. You're gonna have to make a decision right there. Especially if it's structural or something like that, you're gonna have to fix that, or else things will just crumble right in front of you. So those extra expenses will really eat up your budget so fast, even though you try your best to budget as much as you can, but things will happen. I have not met one rehabber yet that's told me they were right on budget. Not one.
It does not happen, does it? It's just a
No.
fact of life. And so I'm glad you're building in that reserves. And that's a great tip. If some of our listeners are rehabbing and flipping or rehabbing and renting, always build in a contingency at the end of your repair budget. And always like prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Because there's going to be
Every time.
stuff in the ceiling, the crawl space, in the walls. You got all the fun things of life: mold, asbestos, cracked joists, rotted sill plates, all the things you can't really see, knob and tube wiring until it's too
Oh yeah.
late. And then you stroke
Yes.
checks, make problems go away, you write checks.
You
And
write checks
all
and
that
your eyes are
money
closed.
goes out like to the sea. And at the end, like 4 to 6 months later, you hope that it all comes back in and then you finally get your payday.
Well, you said the right word, hope. Hope that it comes back.
So
Yeah.
that's some of the challenges with rehabbing and flipping. What are some of the challenges you've seen with wholesaling? I mean, I love your little memes on Facebook. Everyone needs to follow you on Facebook. You got like this collapsed little shack and it says like cosmetic rehab, easy flip, 2 weeks work, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, we do have a very major problem right now. That everything's hot, right? So all these wholesalers now, wannabe wholesalers, are jumping in. They are just getting properties under contract, which they have no really a good leg to stand on. Why did they put something under contract? They do not understand numbers. They do not understand how to calculate an after repair value. It's just horrible. So that's why friends of mine were bugging me about a year ago. John, you need to teach this. I go, I really don't want to get into the teaching space, but they keep bugging me. So now, of course, I do teach wholesaling class, and yes, I do teach them how to do it right. And just like John Heyer, I'm kind of like him. If you're going to get offended in my class, you need to walk away, and I'll give your money back, because I will tell you exactly what's going on. I have examples after example after so many of them of what wholesalers are doing today. They don't understand it's not about hitting a home run. It's about hitting a base hit, and it's about speed. I teach them that it's better to get $1,000 every time you have something, but you throw one out there every day, as opposed to waiting for this $30,000 hit that you're going to get in 30 or 45 days. You're going to be hungry, you know? So, and I teach them the right way, the numbers and everything. I just try to do my best to show them that we all can make money together, but nobody has to be greedy. That is the killer. That greed is killing all of us.
Okay, I like that. I really do. So, and I'm also seeing a lot of issues with, well, not only are wholesalers off on their ARVs and their repairs, but they're also daisy chaining all this stuff together. And
Oh,
it's
yes.
hard to know really who has equitable interest in the house. They're doing JV deals, but they're not really doing the JV deal because they're not documenting their JV up front. They're just like all daisy chaining. I don't know about you, John, but I've seen the same house show up in my inbox from like 2 to 3 different people with different prices.
Yes, exactly. Oh, believe me, exact. I see that too. And I've learned to ask the right questions. And one of the questions that I ask them is this: do you have this under contract? Just flat out, straight up. You know me, I'm very blunt.
Yeah.
Do you have this under contract? And lots of times they're going to say, well, I'm working with somebody. I say, well, then I'm not dealing with you.
Yeah. I'm
serious. I just walk away because then now they're padding all that profit on top of there. What's the point?
I've seen like in Richmond this week, somebody from California has been posting wholesale deals into like all the classified groups in Facebook. And it's the same crack house that other wholesalers have tried selling. And, you know, all of a sudden this guy from the West Coast says he's got it under contract, where 2 weeks ago somebody else had it under contract at a different price. And the local investors in Richmond are roasting this guy in Facebook group after Facebook group because it's a crack house. He doesn't have it under contract. He's never been there, doesn't have a clue what the numbers are, what the house condition is, or anything else. And you could just totally lose your credibility doing that kind of crap.
You hit it right on the head. Is the credibility and the integrity. And yes, you know, I hate to say this, but it's the truth. Many of them lie, and we catch them with their pants down. So I'm sorry, you know, we're local people, and if you're going to be a virtual wholesaler, try to sell to the locals, especially a savvy investor. Well, you better know your numbers. You better know your stuff, because if not, no, we will uncover all that stuff. And that's all. You know, we do our own due diligence for sure. We have our ways. You know, we're local, and when a lot of these virtual wholesalers, I'm not saying all of them are bad, but there's so many of them that really give a bad name to wholesalers, and it really does hurt the industry, and it's sad.
So do you have any wholesaling tips you can give to, you know, honest, hardworking wholesalers out there trying to do deals in a really tough, tight market?
Yes. First of all, definitely get educated, understand this process. Then when you're in front of the seller, first, just go ahead and listen to them first, and then try to understand what the issue is. Don't make it all about the price all the time. And you and I know they need to be creative. Most wholesalers don't understand that. I teach that actually, how to be creative, and just listen to them, and just you know, be sensitive. Then after that, before you know it, they're going to give you that property. And then when you do get the property, when you try to sell the contract to an investor, do not be greedy. Understand who's taking the bigger risk. It's the investor who's taking the bigger risk, so they definitely need to take you know, the most profit. However, there are some instances that the wholesaler might get the bigger profit, but you know, I've known of investors that don't care about that. As long as the investors' numbers work, that's perfect. Then you make as much as you can, but just be legit, have integrity, and they'll really take you along. And also, one more thing is, find 1 or 2 buyers that buys from you all the time. Don't post on Facebook, hey, I need buyers. That really doesn't really work very well. Connect with people in your area. Find the good buyers that will buy from you all the time. You don't need to post anything on Facebook. I guarantee you that. My wholesalers, they don't post on Facebook. They just bring it to me.
And that's the kind of wholesaler I like working with as well. But there's people out there nationwide that are teaching this thing, FOMO, fear of missing out, right? So they teach wholesalers that they've got to do like a group open house. And then, you know, they start off with a reasonable price, but you can never buy it for, even if you offer them full price in person at the open house, they'll be like, no, we got to review offers. Well, that's like buying off the MLS to me. if you're going to go
Yeah.
highest to best on every house, I really don't want to even spend my time doing any work on that wholesale deal.
Oh yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't do that. You know, I like
It's a
that. That's why I'm
relationship
glad I'm
business.
teaching the wholesaling. Yeah, that's why I'm glad I'm teaching wholesaling, because I teach them that, you know, I have investors actually in the class. I introduce those investors that are buyers.
Yeah.
So what that does is the wholesalers that are learning, they see that there are live people that will buy from them. So they don't really need to go anywhere else. These people are right there. Everybody has their own criteria, and we teach that. Understand what the criteria of each of these investors, and then you bring those properties to them and build a relationship. And you and I know relationship is key here. You know, if you don't have a good relationship with a buyer, you're just fishing. Well, how about if you have a relationship, you could easily say, hey, here's the deal. You want it? Within 5 minutes, that investor should be able to say yes or no.
Yep, great points. I appreciate you sharing those tips, and thanks for helping develop wholesalers. I mean, that's a great calling. So let's talk about cash flow, because wholesaling, you get paid once. Flipping, you get paid once. Cash flow, you get paid month after month after month after month after month. It's like an oil field that just keeps pumping cash flow.
Yes.
What are some ways, looking back, you've done Airbnb, you've done rental, you've done, you know, lease option, contract for deed, whatever, owner financing. Which of those do you like as we progress into the end of the first quarter of 2020?
Well, I do like my seller financing, especially I do a lot of contract for deeds. You know, the reason why I like those is because I'm creating first, number one, home ownership. Then yes, I have a good cash flow coming from those, because I do buy them at a discount and then I sell it at a discount. And then when these people go in there, I like people that have skills. So they go in there and they fix the property, they make it look good. And then there goes now the value of that property goes way up. But then I'm also getting good cash flow. And I team up with my private lenders with that. Then, then at the back end, I use my institutional bank to refi them out. So I do have also cash out refi on that. So it's a nice little circle that I've created. And then of course, now I'm also concentrating on teaming up with joint ventures. Then I have cash flow with that, but that's for future money. So, you know, everything, depending on what is presented to me, as long as I can produce cash flow, like I do have quite a few of lease with options to buy. I do have that. I do have the Airbnbs, and just don't let anybody get full with Airbnb. This is not a constant cash. You know, you have to really work this. And but I do have all, like I said, the contract for deeds. Those are wonderful because the people are happy, and I just get money coming in into my bank account. So cash flow is key.
You'll do a similar process to Burr. So you'll buy it, but you won't rehab it very much. And then you'll basically.
Yeah, I won't rehab it very much. Every now and then I will, but not very much.
Just to make it sort of, I mean, you don't want somebody to move in without heat, right? Or a bad roof.
Oh yeah. Yeah, of course, roof. Yeah, you know, if I could find a roofer, I'll have him fix it. But you know, normally the roof is good, the electrical is good, the plumbing is good, and the HVAC is good.
The basics.
Other than that, cosmetic, the basics.
Yeah. So you're not a slumlord or anything like that, but so you'll buy it, do just maybe a little bit of work to make sure it's okay, and then you'll sell it on a contract for deed, or do you do your refi first, or does it matter?
It doesn't really matter because I'm very transparent to them. I tell them, here's what's happening, and they say, oh, it's okay.
Okay, so you get a bank appraisal, you go into permanent financing with a commercial loan, sell it on a contract for deed with a down payment and a monthly payment.
Yes.
So like how much down payment are you typically able to get there in Alabama these days? Like
you know, it's kind of weird that because I operate in the low income arena, and these two numbers work very well. And I don't know why this works very well. 5,000 and 8,000 between those two. That's what I get. And I've learned that a lot of people, that's easy for them. Yeah. And so I cater first. I don't want to overburden them with a lot of down payment because it's really not about that. It's about working with them to get into the house. I even work with them if they can't have all of it. We work out a small little payment plan, like between 3 to 5 months only, and then they give me the remainder. Then pretty much I really get the whole, like I said, 8,000. This guy told me, hey, John, I only have $6,000 down. I said, okay, sounds good. When can you give me the other two? That simple question right there, he was the one that came up with the solution for me. And it worked out great.
I like it. So then you got a down payment. Do you give them an interest rate? I guess it's basically a contract for the deed. So it's like a car payment, sort of. car loan sort of.
Yes,
They're going to make payments every month until the contract's fulfilled, and then you transfer the deed, right?
that's right. Transfer the title, correct.
How do
And
those terms and length and things typically look?
that also depends on the property, the
Yeah.
price point, and what they want. So all those things have to fall into the right mix. And I
Okay.
always work with them, and I tell them, here's what I want. You know, so I do have a wide range so that, you know, but generally they give me between $5,000 and $8,000,
Yeah.
and then it works out great for them. You know, they're happy because that's the whole point anyway. You know, I'm not here trying to hit a home run. What I try to do is hit base hits every chance I get. If a home run comes, then great. It's all about the base hits, so that's why I accumulate quite a bit.
You know, and 5 to 8,000 up front's a lot. That's a lot better, a lot easier than spending 50 grand on a rehab to actually capture
Yes.
5 to 8,000, you know, within the really quick after acquisition.
Yeah.
And then
it
you've
works out
got,
great really for everybody.
then you've got the banking relationships for your commercial loans. So you just put them into permanent commercial loans, and then the buyer comes in. You like CFD better than lease option?
Yes, let me tell you why.
Yeah.
See, a lease with option to buy, I am still a landlord, even though my lease agreement says I don't do any repairs.
Yeah.
But still, there's that dangling that I am a landlord. If something does happen that they can't do, I'll have to jump in. But with the contract for deed, they are the owner. It's just that there's just no transfer of title. So I am very clear about that with them. I am not your landlord. I am your bank. So you take care of whatever's happening in this house. You don't call me for that.
You know, the only,
And they're okay with it.
the issue I had the last time I did a CFD was the person went into default, and I had to take the property back, and I tried to evict them, and the judge made me foreclose. And
Well, every state's different.
I know, but in Virginia, our Virginia listeners are here, be aware of that, because it was a
Yes.
real pain in my butt.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you said that too, because every kind of transaction you do, there are some risks. So we just have to be aware of those risks, and then we have to do risk management, and then also about your comfort level. You know, evidently for you, this is not something that you like to do because you had a bad experience. You know, I've had to eject 3 people already, but that's okay. You know, that's part of what I do. So, but when I got it back, thank God that they did not destroy the property.
Right.
It was great.
Well, for me, it's
You
a
know?
little different. I happen to really love being a traditional landlord. So I really don't I don't want my tenants to dictate when I sell. I want to sell when I want to sell.
Yes.
Especially when prices
that's
are
right.
going up. But someday this market's going to reset. So we'll see.
Yes.
All right. Great points on creating cash flow. And then you talked about your Airbnbs. Airbnbs are great cash flow in the right location with the right property, but they're a lot of work as well. How do you manage all of that?
Well, first of all, I like that you said something about smart B&B. That was a game changer for me. Yes, sir. Oh, it was a good system. So when you get to a certain level of units, you need something that's going to do things automatically for you. So because of what you said, I went in there and you set everything up in the very beginning. So
Right.
now when somebody inquires, a message goes out. When they're about to check in, a message goes out. When they check out, a message goes out. Once they've left, then it also sends a text message to my cleaning crew. So you have to have all these things in place, and it works out really, really well. That's how we do it. And then of course, what my wife and I just do, we just kind of do like the supervisory stuff. We just go and check, make sure that the cleaners, they did what they said, and we look at the linen, make sure everything's good. That's pretty much it. Before, my wife and I used to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
Cleaning is
it
really
takes up a lot of time.
Getting a good cleaning crew, and then I think automating with Smart B&B is a game changer for sure. And then you got to like really have a cleaning crew that can, like this Saturday, I've got one that's moving out in the morning and then moving in the afternoon. They got like a 4-hour window on a weekend, or we actually had to do one on Thanksgiving once. And getting somebody in and out of there quick is really critical on a short notice. So that cleaning is important.
Yeah. Right. And I know everybody does things differently. And like yours looks like when somebody moves out, somebody can move back in, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've learned from my experience, that's kind of hard. I have a bigger gap, and I don't mind it because it gives a lot of time for, number one, my cleaning crew, because they're not always available, right? So I have to work with their schedule too, because they're out cleaning other properties. I'm not the only customer. So I have to work with them on their schedule. And they normally are very good, especially because I have a day and a half that they could choose somewhere in there when they're going to go clean. And it works out really, really well. And then, of course, we have to take care of the linen. And, you know, just the way we set up ours is good. Others are a little bit different.
Yeah, the laundry piece of the cleaning, I think, is the hardest part. Do you agree?
Yes, it is. Especially if you have at least if you have a 3-bedroom and up, oh boy.
Yes. Yes, we've had issues where our cleaning crew like way overloaded washer and dryers, and then we've had myriad of other problems. It takes a long time. It takes longer to do the laundry than it does to clean the apartment or house.
Yes, I just well, we got one moving in today. So yesterday we went there and got all the linen. It's a 3-bedroom. So guess what I was doing yesterday afternoon when I got home? I was
You
doing
help
laundry
all
while I
of
was
it?
working.
That's pretty good. Hey, you have an amazing wife and an incredible family. I've had the joy of meeting them. And how important are they to your investing journey here?
Let me tell you, my wife is my rock.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot do this at all without the support of my wife. And actually, my kids enjoy also going and helping. Let's go clean our property. So it's actually very nice that they want to go do that. But if it wasn't for my wife, I cannot do this. You know, she is the house manager. She takes care of everything in the house, while Daddy has to go out and earn the bacon. So this, as you know, when we were working and trying to do real estate while we have a W-2, it's extremely, extremely difficult. I would go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning. So from 9 p.m. to 2 o'clock in the morning, I was looking for deals. Then I have to go be at work at 6 o'clock in the morning. So that was really rough. Now I don't have to do it that way. But if I have an appointment to go to meet a seller, my wife's here to take care of the family. I go. So she is my rock. And because of her, this is where I am today.
And, you know, I think it's important that all of us hustle, we all grind. And I always say you need to be willing to work harder for yourself than you are for your corporate America job. I think it's really important. Tell me a little bit about your morning routine and how you have great mindset. So how do you maintain that mindset and get everything lined up to have a great day every day?
Yeah, number one, I always have to think about my why. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
So my why drives me. You know, failure is not an option. So because of that, that is so strong ingrained in me. I will grind and grind and grind. I will not fail. I will have struggles. I will have potholes. I will have detours, but I keep moving forward. So when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is pray. I just sit in the couch, you know, the couch and in the living room, and I just close my eyes and I just pray. And I always say, God, just please guide me, whatever you want me to do. Let's make this thing happen today. And then for some reason, I just feel elated. And then after that, you know, I just sit on the table and I just have a few books that, you know, I bounce around on books because it's hard for me to sit down and read one book, you know, so I do that. And then I read some passages and all that. And then after that, I exercise. So then I get my blood flowing. Then after that, I'm ready to rock and roll, you know, because the mind's already set.
Love it. So prayer is so important. When you think about it, John, we have the opportunity to have the most important person in the entire universe in our inner circle, being God. And I'm really glad you brought that up because, I mean, that's where we ultimately find our source of love, hope, peace, joy, mercy, grace, all these things. But we can get so busy that we ignore the number one source of all those things for us. So I really appreciate you bringing that up.
Yes, sir. And you know what? I know that there might be some other people there that don't believe in God, but that's okay. You know, but I just know me as a Christian, He is my source. You know, and I just pray for guidance every day that I need to provide for my family, but you're going to throw me the bone when I need it. So, and yes, the funny thing is, God will throw me the bone when He knows I need it now.
Yeah.
He'll say, let me just wait maybe one more day before I throw the bone at you. And before you know it, I get the bone, you know, then I can move on again.
Awesome. John, you're a great giver, a great family guy, and a man of faith. And I really appreciate your sharing your story today. And tips, man, we covered a lot when you think about it. Everything from wholesaling to contract for deed, Airbnb, and a lot of stuff in between. So thanks for rallying up the Alabama Mafia and being an influencer, John, and helping others succeed. We really appreciate you.
Well, my friend, because of you guys and the Walters and the Quincy's, I learned that the more you give, the more you get. So I'm open to everybody. I'm not going to charge anybody just to talk to me. I'm not about that. I'm not one of those kinds of gurus. I'm not even a guru. I'm just John, and I just want to keep giving.
Now you're doing brunch with John, and do you have any events coming up where you're teaching in the near future you want to share?
Yeah, I'm going to be teaching a wholesaling class this Saturday. So I'll be doing that, and people are already asking me, when am I going to do the next one? I go, I don't know, because that's not really what I really want to be doing all the time. So when it comes up, I'll teach it. But the brunch for John, that came about because of Pete Fortunato and Wendy.
Yeah.
Wendy Street. And when she did that, I said, man, one of these days I'm gonna do something like that to where I can just network with friends. Let's teach each other. Let's elevate each other, and just give back. Because so many people have helped me. Now I think it's time for me to do that.
Love it.
So I said, let's have brunch with John.
I love it. So if somebody wants to do brunch with John or get on the waiting list for your next wholesaling class, how would they contact you? Email?
Well, the best way is on Facebook, of course. Look for me, John Morey, or they could call me at 256-469-3099. Or if they want to, they could go to my website, which is jpregroup.com, and they could find me.
Awesome. John, thanks for being my guest today. And all of our listeners, I hope you really enjoyed this. You should be inspired. Get out there and build your cash flow. Your family deserves it. John, thanks for being my guest. It's good to catch up with you.
Thank you, my friend. Anytime.